Okay, so we totally messed up. Keith and I just went off the air for our Fun Friday live show, Front Office Friday, and realized that we didn't answer any of the super chat questions. Right after talking about how we tend to answer all the super chat questions on this channel, we realized we didn't answer any of them. But Keith had to run over to do radio, and a lot of them were Lakers related anyway. So I want to jump back on here really quick. Sorry, everybody. Our brains are so fried after the trade deadline. What an epic trade deadline it was. But yeah, we're exhausted. No question. But let me get into some of these super chat questions that we got on the live show there. Who would you like, Christian Wood or Maxi Kleba, if healthy, as a backup center? I mean, they're both going to be kind of floor spacing bigs. Maxi Kleba give you a bit of physicality there. I would give Maxi a shot, I think, first, especially with him already having some chemistry with Luka. And I can't say that Christian Wood really has any built-in chemistry with the guys on the Lakers team right now. The team's very different, and he's been out all season, whereas at least Maxi has a history with Luka. So I would probably lean Maxi, but neither one is healthy. And we have no update on Christian Wood. We have no update, we do have an update on Maxi Kleba, and it sounds like he's going to be out at least through the regular season, probably. Maybe if he comes back, there's like a few games left. But, I mean, he's out 8 weeks with that foot surgery. So was Mark Williams a risky move? Yes. Yeah. Injury history and not good at defense. Yeah. No, it's definitely it's a gamble by the Lakers. They gave up a lot. They gave up an unprotected first, a pick swap plus Dalton Connect, who's certainly worth at least a first round value. So yeah, it's a risky move. No question. It's a risky move to go get Mark Williams. But the Lakers believe two things. The Lakers believe, number one, that the injury stuff is behind him and that they can manage anything he's got moving forward. Great. If that's true, that helps a lot for their value. And then number two, the Lakers also have to believe that they're going to be able to get more out of him defensively than what we saw with the Charlotte Hornets. Because, yeah, the defensive metrics aren't great for Mark Williams. And you would think somebody with a wingspan like his would be better. He was a good defensive player in college. The Lakers believe there's some untapped potential here on the defensive side. So those two things will go a long way towards determining whether or not this was a mistake by the Lakers or if this is good value. If the Lakers are right on both of those things, this will be good value. If Mark Williams is a better defensive player than what he's shown so far, and it's just the Hornets system, just being a Hornet, that's been the problem, that will help this trade's value tremendously for the Lakers. And then, of course, if he can stay healthy, that is a big thing too for LA. But it is a risk because those are two very, very questionable things. This is not, right now, like if you look at Walker Kessler, who again was not available, but we always go back to him. We know he makes a major impact at the rim defensively. We don't know if so far history has told us Mark Williams does not do that. We'll see if the Lakers can change that or not. But there's uncertainty here with that move, and so that makes it inherently risky. JJ, happy birthday, Trevor. Thank you for your hard work and give us NBA news coverage with Keith. You both deserve credit. Hope you guys go on a break. Well, JJ, thank you very much. I did sleep in today. My brain is still mush after the trade deadline, but it was an epic trade deadline. Appreciate the birthday wishes, but yeah, I'm going to get out of town in a week, try to focus on family, do all that kind of stuff because I've definitely been working a lot over the last few weeks here. So looking forward to a little break during the All-Star break, getting away a little bit and doing that. But thank you, JJ. Really do appreciate it. And very, very fortunate to get to do, what we do and get to talk about basketball on a daily basis. Like, this is awesome. I'm far from complaining. I love it. Bounce Back said, you think LeBron started giving Austin Reeves the ball more because he was going to start playing off ball and have Luka and Austin Reeves handle playmaking more? Also, happy birthday. Well, thank you. I don't know if there was like method to the madness. And we saw LeBron in last night's game really kind of take the ball and go. Once he saw Austin's shot wasn't falling, he just kind of started going. LeBron did. And obviously had a great first half, was hitting all those threes against the Warriors. I don't know how much of it is LeBron trying to prepare Austin or whatever, for Luka and saying, here's the ball for a while, and then you're going to lose it once Luka comes back. Or I don't know. I don't think there was really method. I think LeBron just wanted to win the game. And that's really all that comes down to. He wanted to win the game. He knew he probably needed Austin to get going because both teams were so lacking in players due to the trade deadline. But I don't think there was anything other than that behind it. He wanted to win. He knew he needed to get Austin going. Austin never got going shooting the ball. It was just a bad night for him, but LeBron was able to step up, and they did enough to where they got the win. Navaneeth said, was speaking to some high school kids about their career choices, and I spoke to them about how Trevor transitioned from teaching to covering the NBA, and told them how it's always okay to take a risk. Love from India. Happy birthday, my man. Well, that's awesome. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, risk within reason can pay off. People talk a lot about betting on yourself as long as you're doing it within, as long as you're not doing something crazy, as long as you're not doing something that is incredibly risky. Um, it's I can tell you this, it's anecdotal, and by no means is this a sign that everybody should make some crazy leap, but I did, and I don't regret it for a second. I don't regret what I did. There's times where I miss coaching. There's times where I miss telling a story in the classroom or something like that. But I love what I do. I love what I do, and I don't regret taking that risk for a second. So yeah, it's definitely been a crazy journey. At some point, maybe over on the basketball bulletin or something, I'll do a video kind of about that and decision making and all that sort of stuff. But no, I do really appreciate that. Kevin, Chris Middleton still better, way better than Kuzma, shooting 40% from three. Yeah, I mean, so the Bucks with their move, not only do they get younger, but they also open up the ability for themselves to aggregate salaries in a trade. And then like just nothing bigger came along because they dropped below that second tier apron. And so it's got to be kind of a disappointing deadline for Milwaukee. I think they were looking for the move that was going to put them over the top and put them back into the mix in the East. And I don't think they got that. And so now do we have a summer of Giannis, right? We already know it's going to be KD. We already know it's going to be Trae Young. Are we also dealing with Giannis Antetokounmpo rumors? Does that become a thing? And I'll tell you what, there's a number of teams around the NBA that are salivating at the thought. They're hoping that somehow, some way Giannis is going to be available. So we'll see for Milwaukee. But yeah, a little bit of a disappointing trade deadline overall for them. You lose Chris Middleton. I get it. You open up more flexibility, but then you didn't really use that flexibility to do anything significant. Kuzma, of course, is younger, has a declining salary. There's things to like about him. Look, if Kyle Kuzma reverts to his career numbers, at least, it's not nearly as bad. It's not. I mean, I think he's actually probably an upgrade just in terms of the mobility, what he can do out there on the floor for the Bucks. No, he's not going to be as good of a shooter, but I think he can do some other things. But he's got to get back to just being a decent shooter. And it could just be he was with a bad Wizards team and there wasn't really much rhythm to that team. I mean, they were awful. It's always possible that on a better team and a better system, Kyle Kuzma also looks a lot better. God, that Wizards team is hard to watch. Kenneth said, LeBron said as long as he's able to compete and play the game at a high level, he will keep playing. I believe the NBA did this trade to keep him. So the end of that, right? That's where we're getting into conspiracy theory mode, right? The NBA did this trade. I've seen a lot of that. And it goes to show like how shocking that trade was, that number one, the reaction from all of us was Shams got hacked, right? When the trade came out, when it was Luka and AD, was that he got hacked, right? And that was it. And Shams himself said he thought that something was amiss, right? Something happened. Somebody got hacked when he got the information. Something had gone on. Anyway, but obviously that was not the case. It was a real trade. It really happened. But because people can't figure out the motivation for Dallas, or because the explanations that the Mavs have given, people don't buy their explanations because they see this as a big loss value-wise for the Mavs. Because people don't buy their explanations, they're filling in the gaps with other explanations for why it may have happened. And they're coming up with a lot of conspiracy theories. And I've seen that they're playing out the plot of Major League, that the new Mavs owners want to move the team to Vegas. Like, why not just get in the bidding for the Vegas franchise that they're going to be adding soon? The NBA doesn't want to be in the business of moving clubs. They saw the backlash from the whole Seattle thing. So I think that one is pretty far-fetched. The NBA needed their TV ratings to go up. And so they are the ones that made this move. But we've seen in the past too, where, I mean, the Chris Paul veto, that was, I mean, a disaster. And you could have had Chris Paul in LA. And then you got Chris Paul with the Clippers, which we all know it's not the same as having him, really in LA. So we've seen situations in the past where maybe there's an opportunity there to do that. Now you can say, well, you've got the new TV deal and all that kind of stuff. And I get where there could be some motive for it. But I mean, we're talking pretty big time conspiracy theory stuff here, where there'd have to be a lot of people involved that would all have to not speak on this. That's hard to imagine. And then if the NBA was seen as pulling these kind of strings behind the scenes, they already had a really bad look with the Chris Paul situation back in the day. So I would be surprised. So the NBA did this trade to keep LeBron in the league. Like, that's some, like, we're talking high level conspiracy theory stuff here. I think LeBron is going to do what LeBron wants to do. For him, it's all about the mental piece. Physically, can he still play? Yeah, physically, he's great, even at 40. It's insane, the stuff that he's pulling off. But mentally, it's ramping up. It's taking care of your body. It's doing all that stuff that can really be taxing. And I think that's what's going to determine how long he plays for. And then Luis said, Trevor, don't sleep. #vamp life. I just, over the last week or so of the trade deadline, I haven't slept much. That's for sure. But that's the trade deadline, and that's the way that it goes. And that's what I expect and I anticipate. Keith is the early riser. Keith is up, 6 something Eastern time every day. I'm usually going to bed just a few hours before Keith's getting up. That's the way. But I've always been that way. I've always been wired like that. Summer vacation, and even when I was a kid, summer vacation and stuff from school, talking like a teenager, I just would instantly shift to, like, I'd go to bed earlier during the school year. Would have to get up early, but when we were on break, I would naturally just revert to like 2 a.m. to 9 or 10 a.m. I would sleep. I've always been, even when I was a real little kid, I've always been a night owl. Just how I've always been wired. But I do like to sleep. I just sleep a little bit later in the morning typically, when I've got a job that allows me to do so, which right now I do, unless it's the trade deadline. Anyway, thank you again, everybody, for the birthday wishes. And again, apologies that we didn't get to these questions live during the show, but we do appreciate all of you. Again, our brains a little bit mush, and we completely forgot to jump into the super chats. So again, apologies for that, but thank you again, everybody. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you all on Monday.